put out to the public. It's a book called Alexander Pinkoff. Brother Tiba was able to access some recently. I was able to get the book in 1996 because white boys didn't know what they had by mistake. And so that, by mistake. And this is a form of Mayat and Pu Anubis, Heru, Mayat and Pu, which Anubis, all in one design. This is coming from the temple. This is coming from King Tut's sarcophagus. And all. So we have these rare photographs. As you see, this is a picture of the temple of Dendera. A picture of the temple of Dendera coming from, that's kind of crooked, but I have a better print of it. Coming from a picture of Heru at Dendera, coming from Napoleon's artist that redid it. And so we have all these also for sale. This is a picture of the goddess Lakshmi, which should pay very close attention to her if you want prosperity in your life. And not only monetary, but prosperity as far as things you're looking for. Each one of these are very rare. You usually see her with clothes on, but the reason why she's voluptuous is because it makes no mistake about it. It is a sister. So there's a reason and there's power in the ones that's very voluptuous. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll just put it down for right now. If I want to use it, I'll put it back up. But right now, you know, we'll put it back up if I get to that point. But this is this one. If it offends you, just remember this is stuff that is hidden. These things here, most of the time when you see this goddess now, she's white looking with all types of with all this garment on. This is the African or the Kushite form of the original aspect of this goddess Lakshmi. We talked about the Venus transit, where Venus came through and it ushered in the feminine energy. All we had to do was wait and find out what form of Venus would show up. And the form of Venus that showed up was Lakshmi. Very key. You see, and there was one reason why they did that, because I think in actuality, they also want you to focus on the whole planet. The whole planet is ours. You see what I'm saying? So we're not just stuck in one portion. I know we have done the continental African thing for the last 15 years, but we have neglected the entire planet. That's ours. So we have to access all of the Native American aspect, which is nothing but a derivative of Olmec. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going ahead of myself. This one is a voluptuous thing I don't think you can quite see. These are people making love on a temple that, here again, that they don't want you to see this temple. Why? Because it's very important. Your image around the world is, if you ever look at any TV shows or anything, is never to show black people in passion, embracing. You see what I'm saying? If they don't show you in a romantic level, it somehow dehumanizes you. So romantic aspect is a specialized group for white males and white folks. They have all the romantic movies. You see what I'm saying? And there's a reason for this, a design for Hollywood, because the entire concept of your illumination is based on the original Isis, Aset, and Osar getting back together. And they already know this type of energy, so the imagery of you in a passionate embrace, they can't show. Here's an entire temple in India that they never show you. You see, very few books. This one came out in the 1960s. There's one that came out in the 90s, and they make sure they cost a whole lot of money. And that is for you not to see you in embrace. I'm going ahead of myself. I'm going ahead of myself. The other ones, so we got all these for sale. tonight, now, you know, so for the people that want to access this, we're not talking about, it's like Atiba said, not just pretty pictures. When I go into the lecture, each one of these will have several meanings. You see what I'm saying? Just by, you say, well, how could that be just by a picture? I said, look. I said, well, look, one of the most important things now is for, especially the sisters, is to somehow connect with love in the aspect of trying to find a mate. And so the Spirit reveals, well, these temples over in India were not just put there just to be pretty. A certain gaze into these things and focus on these pictures, it's like a ritual. A mate will come to you. So that's why we're saying we're selling these things. It's a ritual going on. You want to get a mate, you put this into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind gives you what you program it with. You see what I'm saying? And so probably most of your plight is you've been programmed in the Christian way, which is a male-dominated level of the woman always being subordinate. You see what I'm saying? So you're not supposed to express your sexuality. That's why all through the book they talk about the whore. Well, if this book is a part of your colonization, then you need to be looking at the whore. Not necessarily becoming a whore, but they're talking about the celebration of your own sexuality, which you shouldn't be ashamed of. That's Europeans being ashamed of their own sexuality because simply they're not good at it. Especially the male. You see what I'm saying? He's not good at it. You see. So, and as you know, this is also the Temple of Dendera, which is very key here is although you have the zodiac that Brother Atiba was showing you, why is this picture of Aset or a picture of the black woman? Although it's a European version of the Napoleon, but the Napoleon lithographs are the best on the planet because his artists, he took some of the best artists around Europe to go and recapture it. And they didn't have cameras back there, so we give these because they're some of the best lithographs of the prints. So, but there's a connection between this woman and this zodiac. That means in ultimately the zodiac is twixt your legs. Between your legs, like Dr. Ben said. You see, their heaven is between your legs. And when we go deeper into this stuff, there's some whole other gateways. And also, you don't even have to have a man to access this. You just need to have a hand. Some Jackson 5 Live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Jackson Live. I'm talking about you women. So we want to put the Dendera. Now I was in Chicago a few weeks, so we have to train our people how to learn. I was in Chicago a few weeks and was talking all this sexual tantra and different things, and the brother said, oh, it's so personal. And I said, now wait a minute, hold on now. Right now, if they had a course down at the University of Chicago talking about the reproductive sexual anatomy and the whole sexual function of the human body, and you stepped up in there and that white professor was explaining that stuff and all the sexual aspect, you wouldn't dare question him on whether it's being personal. You see what I'm saying? Because he has made himself the criteria of the authority. But all of a sudden, we're such childlike people. When we come, we have such a low opinion of ourselves and a low image of ourselves. So when black people come and explain the same thing, you get offended by it. Now, I did a lecture down in Atlanta in 2001 at the Hemmitt Summit, and I was breaking down this same sexual energy stuff, and black people lost their mind. That nigga done gone crazy. The same year, white folks had the same type of sexual conference in Australia, and white folks flew from all over the world. They had one about a year later in Las Vegas. They was expecting about 30,000 people, and 200,000 people showed up. But yet we try to explain this to our people because we're on such a childlike level of catechism Sunday school. And that's why you're not learning nothing. You want to know why you're not learning nothing, because you fail to push the envelope and see what's behind the veil. You see what I'm saying? And white folks is taking this stuff and running with it, and they don't have the energy. You see what I'm saying? They don't have the energy. So they show these temples, they print these temples up of these black people embracing. And they said that the embrace, when and the embrace that they're doing is from another planet. They mean that there's something when you take a person, especially when you take a woman, and you both get together and you can hold each other tight enough so you can generate enough energy, you can open up cells and chakras and rejuvenate yourself just by a certain hug and a certain embrace. You see what I'm saying? Most men bust a nut and then they don't want to be touched. You see what I'm saying? That's the opposite, because we're trained to go after that as a child, and we're doing it the wrong way. So we're talking about a certain embrace. We're going ahead of ourselves because we got a lot to cover tonight. But we want to, so what happened was the Spirit said you need to give the people some pictures and things that you don't see. So also, I'll put this one up later. This is one of the inside of the Temple of Dendera. Also, we don't see this to show the massive construction of our people that goes along here. I'll put that up. You can assist me by putting that up there, right up under there. And we have just a limited few of these, so first come, first served. You know, I've never done infomercials, but hey, it's hard times. I did 13 years of pro-righteous teacher and almost landed in the street and all. Is this particular African beauty called the African Venus. Now, I went to the Baltimore Museum in the Walters Art Gallery in Baltimore, Maryland, and there was a little brochure. I was going to see this, the Egyptian exhibit. And this woman called out to me and said, come pick up this brochure. And I went over and picked up the brochure, and there was a little picture of her. And she said, get me out of here. So I had to go to the store and find a print of this. And as a result, I also found this. Now, I open up with these. This is the African Venus. The brother name is Charles Henry Joseph. He traveled to Africa to capture this man, a Sudanese king, might be an origin of a Moor. You see, might be the origin of a Moorish sect in the Sudan. This might be one of the origins. And he, as far as the location, he traveled to capture this brother, saw this beauty, and was so smitten by her, he went back 4 years later to do her and named her African Venus, which is the goddess of beauty and the goddess of love. And this would be the prototype in which, when you heard the scholars like John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben and even Farrakhan used to say, you were the standard of beauty all over the planet. Well, this is the type of person that they're talking about. So when I got her out, first of all, there was a debate in 1990 whether dreads or locks, no, y'all take offense. But they said there's a story behind the word dreadlock. They say the Maroon Societies was kicking ass, and they had these locks, and the white boys dreaded seeing those locks. So there's a story behind that. So anyway, there was this origin of dreads, and there was a debate going on in Atlanta and the Morehouse College and different things in the 1990s, whether it originated in the Caribbean or Africa. And they made reference to that the Egyptian boys warm up to age 12, then after age 12 they cut them. But this brother has them also, but you don't see his because he has on whatever this is some form, although it's open in the back, it's still some form of a fez. But here clearly, you see what I'm saying? It just knocks that out of the water. Because this is the 1800s. and all. And we see this woman with dreadlocks, locks. So we got about 10 of these. So, hey, first come, first serve. But just step to me if you want one. If when we sell out, and I'll definitely take down my name, and I'll send you. I've been sending them in the mail since I got it across the country. So you can also get access to these. These color ones are 10. These are 5 each. You can buy the whole set, but they're very important, especially these. You want to get some money, you want to get some prosperity, you want to do something. This temple here, and I got one that's so much in better shape, is going to be very key when I go into what I'm talking about, and it's going to coincide with what Brother Atiba was saying about a doorway. That's one of the keys. And I'm going ahead of myself, but anyway, when I got this picture out and I gave it to a few sisters in Atlanta, they would call back next morning and say, my God, she's communicating with me. Now, ironically, I got this out on about a year, November the 9th, November the 9th or 6th of 2003. And it's called the African Venus. And who would ever know that on 666, June 6, 2004, 2 and 4 is 6, you would have the Venus transient. So all this stuff lines up. So this particular picture goes along with the Venus, as well as this is the East Indian form of Venus. Het-Heru, Hathor, the temple of Hathor, is the Kamite form of Venus. The Kamite form of Venus. And I know everybody wants, so we can make some available or whatever the type thing he is, all it's just that, we could only get 10 at the moment. The Kamite form of Venus, all of these are aspects of the form of Venus. And all, but the one that's the most active is this baby right here. And all. It right here. And I'm going to go into some things tonight now, some things for you to also watch out for. Because at this particular time, you can front to everybody around you, but your heart has to be right, because there's something called the apocalypse of the heart, and you're being judged by your own heart. Which means the first thing you say, well, how can I get my heart right? Well, the first thing you have to do to get your heart right is, we could talk about how to behave, but we got to cut to the chase on what would make you at the point that you would have a messed up heart. And basically, you have to, and there's a technique we'll deal with at this time. It's a philosophy. What you have to do to get your heart right is this one simple thing. You have to fall in love with self. You got to just say, look, this is who I am. This is what was handed to me on the life cycle. And just deal with it. Say, this is it, I'm not going to get another self. Who I am is who I am. Quit comparing yourself to whether you look like other people or what other people have, and fall in love with self. There's something about you that you like about yourself. Take that and magnify it. You know what I'm saying? You might scratch your behind a certain way and you go, man, I do that shit good. But whatever it is, whatever it is, it might be some freaky idiosyncrasy stuff. Take that and fall in love with it. You see what I'm saying? There's something about you that you like about yourself that can be admirable, other than comparing yourself to other people and what you don't have based on what you think is the object of beauty, desire, wealth, or whatever. It's a done deal. You're going to have to, and once you neutralize that, pretty much you free. There's a way to do that. We'll go into that. It's called getting to know self. I'm going ahead of myself because we got a lot to deal with, but I want you to access these things also, because it also helps me out in the aspect of, because I asked the Spirit, she said, well, you want to make some cash, you want to do something to help yourself out, then give the people some spiritual things that they can use, as well as, so we also got the love fund bucket here, and all, so we're going to take a break. about an hour into this thing, and you can access these pictures and the Love Fund bucket, and we got a few more DVDs left behind. DVDs left behind on the whole African Venus thing, one that was done in this summer around the time that the Venus thing was actually happening. So we have a few of those in all the DVDs. But there's also a number on here, but also you can access. We want to give the shout outs to the people who put this thing, because I'm jacked in on this one based on Brother Atiba, who called me up and said, look, you want to do this, and also go to Tahuti Online. The Brother Noah, the Brother Noah who's doing these tapes, go to Brother Noah and access that. There's several ways you want to do this. You see what I'm saying? So I'm obligated based on Brother Atiba and Brother Noah, you see, that which is, you access these particular videos and stuff tonight, no. And moving right along, we got a lot to cover. So we're going to get into a little libation. But what I want to do, I'm going to restrict this because time is the essence. So I'm going to restrict this to more of the newer entities that came through, which I'm going to explain what all that is about. The newer entities. I tried to downsize based on 9/11 and the plane situation and all, but it just ain't happening and all, I got a new sister. I got a new queen in Goddess. You know what I'm saying? And she came in, like I said, I met her actually in Philly during the that was October the 25th, 1997 in Philly during the Million Woman March. And she came I had a lecture later on that evening, and she came, and I'm like, dang, you look just like my first cousins. I got 3 cousins, and so I fell into the cousin zone. And I think that's the way the Spirit does things, because I had Ginger at the time. You see what I'm saying? So I fell into the cousin zone, and it's interesting how the Spirit, I didn't look at her only as a cousin. When I used to see her, I said, hey, cousin. She said, mentioned she was from D.C. and all that. And then later on, when I went to go get the African Venus in Baltimore, she came to the lecture because she moved back down to D.C. She was here in Philly for a minute, and she just danced with Sunrise Band, and so she was here for about 3 years, and she moved back down to D.C. And so it's interesting how the energy can change. We made the love connection. So she moved down and stuff, and so I said, well, baby, I cleaned up the house, got it spotless, and all of this. So she moved down in my spotless house and cleaned for fucking 4 months. I said, well, I guess a man's clean is different than a woman's clean. We sweep around stuff. They will go, no, you got to pull that bed out, so she was doing some of that grandma cleaning. So she cleaned for 4 months and changed up the whole energy. But I can't find nothing now. You know what I'm saying? I can't find nothing now. Because I'm totally discombobulated. I'm not used to putting down a glass and walking to the bathroom to take a piss and come back and the glass is gone because it's empty, it's in the sink. And my socks disappearing and stuff like that because they're in the bottom of a bag somewhere. So she's steady, but that's what Lakshmi does. She cleans up and cleans out to make a certain energy. So that whole feng shui thing, the whole feng shui thing that's going on. So I forgot where I was going with this, but anyway, she and so as a result, but as a result, as a result, a whole nother metamorphosis has occurred in that particular aspect and all. But now going back to this thing here, we have to. It's just like the brother that was the grandstand and tried to make this out of a spiritual thing about a curse word, and he wasn't a bit more interested in no energy or some energy changing up than a dog. That was just pure ego and showing off with that foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And you got all this spiritual thing and all this stuff, and you mean to tell me that's a slap on you as an intellectual and an individual, a black person, to think that in actuality, because a person said a few slangs, because the only curse word is the one that you don't get offended by, and that's damn. And in order for it to be a curse word, you have to damn someone. The other stuff, fuck, Fornication under the consent of the king. That's what, hold on. Quit laughing because we're programmed to think that certain things is funny. If fornication under the consent of the king, this is what it was called in British. That's British slang. Shit is the word excrement, which is one of the original words for the original God. Pre-dynastic Set was called shut. That's where the word comes from. You see what I'm saying? That's where the word comes from. Okay, then we have the motherfucker term. Well, let's break that down. In the concept of when you're talking about the netters, Horus, in one mythology, being born from his mother is called fecundation. Look up that word, fecundation, where the son makes love to the mother. Now, this is not no incest thing. What it's talking about here is ultimately you are all connected to the divine feminine. You see, connected to the divine feminine. And so the word fecundation, where the son makes love to the mother, is a spiritual term. The spiritual term of the Immaculate Conception, which in actuality, don't get offended because we're going to get into some other stuff. And that is this now. Atiba made an astronomical point that furthers some information on a mythological point that came down this summer. And that is, the Egyptologists, when they were studying Kemet, from the 1800s on up, there were some things that they found out that they omitted. And it was printed once in the book When God Was a Woman, and not mentioned again until a new book called Egyptian Mythology by Geraldine Pinch. Came out about 2 years ago. Egyptian Mythology by Geraldine Pinch, where it says that Osiris was worshipped as all of the attributes that you know of Osiris or Osar, but one of his worships was a mother goddess. That Osiris in an earlier form was worshipped as a mother goddess, which makes sense if Osiris is connected with Venus. Because in the Geraldine Pinch book, by her being a woman, she printed something that most male Egyptologists didn't want to deal with, that Osiris is worshipped as a woman. Now, what does that mean about the black man? You go through hell because you have something about you that is different than any male on the planet by you being the original person, and it has something to do with your astral nature on the inner self or the inner planes, is that your insides and the energy that you are driven from when you lay in that rod, you know what I'm saying, your Johnson, your dipstick, is a feminine energy. That even the whole concept of your penis is nothing but an extension of the woman. It's a feminine energy. The basis on what makes your penis hard is a feminine energy. And only you have this, and that is the reason why you are also maligned and vilified based on your sexuality. You see, you're the only person that is treated unfair based on sexism like the black woman is the black man. You see what I'm saying? So we're going deeper into these particular mysteries. I say, but since 2001, a bunch of new gods have come to the planet, and now it's up to about 70 of these entities. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour libation to them, just to save face, because we just did a lot of, and we'll add a few in of the old order, but we want to pour some libation to them to get a certain energy a certain way. Y'all all right? Okay, and then we got to, so, but I tried to travel lightly, but that's what I was getting at. But it's almost like you got a bunch of junk, and then when you clean that junk up, you become lost. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to justify your nasty ass house. But I'm trying to say here, I'm not talking about being filthy. I'm talking about there could be a method to your madness. So it's called the chaos theory. So with me, I had my stuff in a chaos order. And you know, melanin is chaos, and chaos is melanin. Richard King, African Origins of Biological Psychiatry. You know. So in my chaotic aspect of things, when she came in and organized it, I'm lost like crazy. But also, too, that's the spirit, because now I got to be totally dependent on her to direct me. You see. You know what I'm saying? And apparently, it's almost like getting a mother that you get to a certain level, and maybe at a certain age you might need another mother. So I was often wondering why she can talk all that shit to me, but when I say the slightest thing to her, she's offended. You know what I'm saying? Then I realized the whole concept here is submission is power. And I think it's a balancing thing, me being the speaker, me being dominant, me being loud and obnoxious. Then that's a balancing thing and all this type of thing here. You know, so that's one aspect about it. But now going on, we want to pull to these new gods, get this right out of the way. I had to put this in a bag and put it on the plane. You know, you're going to find out that when all your diet fails and all your doctors fail and everything failing, you got to rely on the spirit world. And the spirits show up, and you can be all Miss Goody Two Shoes and say you don't do this and you don't do that. But when the spirits show up, which is your spirit, and you say I need to be healed. And they go, no, you got to give us something. And you can make the choice, because it's a spirit matter, and you thinking it's a physical matter, and you get lost in it. And they say, no, we want some damn alcohol. Then you say, we want some alcohol. Then you got to do what they say. Now, do what they say. The word alcohol is a spiritus. Do you remember now, most of the things that you have been getting in religion to tell you not to do things is the things that you're supposed to be doing. They tell you not to have sex. You're supposed to be bumping and grinding. They tell you not to partake in certain things. Well, now, we're not talking about excess. But there was no way, even if you just take the Bible, there's no way in there said that you couldn't drink alcohol. They say drinking too much of something. Well, and this is just basic sociology. You drink too much, you get a doggone hangover. All right? So, you know what I'm saying? But the point about it here is spiritus, alcohol. Now, quiet is kept. This is a Moorish or an Egyptian science carried up into Europe, or the art of distillation by the Moors. Even in the European aspect of a history of mind-altering drugs, when they talk about alcohol, they say, well, we got that from the Arabs. When anytime they say they got something from the Arabs, they're not talking about the man over there wiping his behind with his left hand or whatever. They're talking about Egyptian priests that banded together under the banner of the Moors and went up into Europe. So the art of distillation was brought by the Moors for spiritual purposes. You see what I'm saying? So now, unfortunately, for some of you people, it's trying to be all nice and all this for you. But fortunately, the most powerful ones left in the system of spirits that's left right now is Palo Manombe. That's the most powerful ones left. And they require a little bit of this here. And they don't want no orange juice. They don't want no water. Can't compromise. No substitutes. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, we gave them some cognac Cavassier, and they damn near lost their mind. Now, I'm saying this thing here because I'm not going by theory. Everything I'm doing now is a complete communication with the spirits, you know, including my weight. Because one thing the sister, she said, I'm baffled. She said, you eat no sweets and you hardly eat. How the hell you that fat? I said, It's spiritual. It's spiritual now. And when I went to Cleveland, one of the sisters called back. She said, man, he was wearing his armor. And she said, what do you mean by the armor? She said, his weight. Now, what I mean by that here is, and I understood the concept of the yogi where they had a guy who was 300 pounds. He was 300 years old, and he was 300 pounds. You see what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get up to no 300 pounds. And I ain't trying to live to be no 300. You see what I'm saying? Like the Egyptians say, foolish are the long-lived. I'm saying the day that somebody got a hook or bag up to my behind, I got to get some stuff like that. You take me on out of here. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is, when you really start dealing with the spirit world, you're going to find out it's going to be the complete opposite, because we have been given religion, and religion is not spirit. No matter how much it make you feel good, it's not spirit. And the only feeling good is you are spiritual beings, and you need something to feel good, so therefore only what you are programmed by is why you feel the way you do. But religion is only inspiration. You see what I'm saying? So I knew that the brother, when he was talking that, he was religious. And religious say that it's all about your behavior. And I'm trying to tell you, I've been communicating with these spirits day and night, and not once did they ever say, Bobby, you need to stop cursing. Or Bobby, you need to not take this here. And they require this. You know, I one time, they require this. So I had all this acid indigestion. I couldn't get rid of it for one day, and I'm like, what the devil going on? They were like, you know what you got to do? So I had to go get some medicine. As simple as that. Now, I'll go into the science on this type thing here and all, because you're going to have to break. So we're talking spirit. And sometimes you're going to have to break what you know as religious. And even though what you might think is detrimental to your health, there could be some spirits behind some things. So there's three sisters, and I talked about Otincha, T.H., and Shayola. And they show up, and they heal whatever. And I can get them to heal whatever, but they be like, Mom, get the shit. So now they're like, no, we want some cognac. So you know, now here's shit, I got it working. And now my mate, she gonna come in with some expensive taste and start giving these damn spirits some high-end shit. You see what I'm saying? Messing up my flow. So now all of a sudden now they want cognac, or they wanted some Don Quavo, what's that? Quavo Gold. They don't want the regular tequila, they want the Quavo Gold. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I had them going off the shit when I get up the street. I live in the hood. Now you done raised the bar. It's becoming quite expensive. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say here is, we have all been programmed to think what we think is spiritual is based on a person's behavior before you, and that's not spiritual. I went to college for 8 years. I went for 4 years, and then I went for another 8 years just to have a place to stay. 3 hots and a cot. Take 15 hours. I think it's 12 hours. Which one? 12 to get that grant? Well, I take about 12 hours to get the grant, no more, just to get the lunchroom and the bed, so I could stay on the campus. And I used to use that to move. I said, to move to another city. I said, dang, I need to go to Atlanta. I said, dang, I ain't got no money, whatever. I'll get back in school. But I forgot what I was getting ready to say. But anyway, I went 4 years at this black college down there in South Carolina, and they had these black speakers that would come up, and they would inspire us for 4 years. And they knew the art of saying nothing well. That's ceremony. So as soon as you see somebody come unorthodox that curse before you, you have been trained to reject that. Now what is going on is this. Explain a couple of things. Y'all all right? Explain a couple of things. What is going on is this. you have the subconscious mind. You ever had some people, and some of you might know this because this probably happened in the last couple of years. They've been going all this black conscious stuff. They've been going all this Afrocentric stuff, and they know that all this, the origin of their religion started in Africa, started in Kemet. And after they learned all of that, they went back up in the church, singing on the choir. And you baffle. You go, wait a minute, how can you learn that the origin, you know, that one is an offshoot of the other, and one is actually a byproduct that is actually false compared to the original model, and you're going to go back to the falsehood. That is because you must understand the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind creates what you put. It's programmed with what initial information is put into it. The original information, the initial programming, you see, in its inception. And it takes that programming and believes it to be real. And it works on that initial state of what was programmed into it to bring you what you want. So it gives you reality from the very first thing that you program it with. And that you program it with could be wrong information. But it only deals with the reality in which it is programmed in, so therefore it runs off of the wrong information like it's reality. And when you put the right information in it, it will reject the right information until you get that initial programming out. So what has happened here is some of the people who have gone and learned all this stuff did not somehow internalize it and destroy the initial programming, and so it only became data. And it never seeped through to conquer the initial wrong programming. So after a while, after a couple of years, after certain lecture circuits shut down and they don't see the people no more, you know, doing lectures, new information coming out, they're going back to the church. And you baffled because you don't know what the hell happened. And because you were taught something as a child, doesn't necessarily make it true. The first thing people say, well, why are you going to tell me that? My mom and my daddy learned this. My mom and my daddy taught me this. You know what I'm saying? So you say, how can I get rid of this here? And I've been knowing it all my life. You understand how that goes? Doesn't necessarily make it right. You get where I'm coming from? So that's called the initial breeding. And you have to somehow, your cup is running over with ignorance. So you have to dump that out to get the fresh information. And so it's a series of programs. And you must do this now with the very essence of everything that you think is right and good. You see what I'm saying? So because you got a group of slangs that somehow your parents told you this, oh, that's bad. And you're still functioning on this now 40 plus, 50 plus. It's because of initial programming. Now over here, I'll give you an example. Over here, we can say the word bloody and it won't mean anything. But if you go to Britain and say the word bloody, you just as well said, you no good bastard. You understand where I'm coming from? So what is reality is only what you are programmed to say. So it's the same thing if you would go to the bush in Africa and you say, you no good bitch, you bastard. To the Twa people, they might laugh at you because they don't understand, they don't grasp the concept of that being offensive. So it's only relative to what you were initially programmed. And that's why we said that the only one that you will take offense to is damn. And that's that you don't take offense. You can say it in the pulpit. The preacher can say, don't give a damn, and they go, well, go ahead on, preacher. And it is the only one that is the curse word based on when you want to say the word curse as far as damning someone, and then you have to use it in a certain function for it to be a curse. So it's by definition of the word, except when you say curse word or profane, well, we want to deal with the profane. I'm just trying to say here is we have to get out of the programming of what we would have as religion. So I could come here and give you this straight-laced simulation of being spiritual and take all your money and get caught in the bed screwing your damn daughters and incest and all kind of crazy stuff, but you bought it. You see what I'm saying? I want to preface that. I'm not talking about me screwing your daughters. I don't want to get it that Bobby went up to Philadelphia and said he wanted to screw your daughters. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that. I'm just trying to say we get these shysters year after year after year been getting over on you since before slavery. And all because they came and said something in the package in which you were programmed to believe that they were spiritual. You see what I'm saying? And the prostitute might have the key to your salvation and you walk over her. Because you are programmed to think the spirit has something to do with behavior. And behavior never existed. Everybody in this room, you've never existed. So I said I was going to give you the concept on how you can start loving yourself. You start loving yourself by not identifying yourself with the physical body that you think you are. You are not your physical body. And I know what I'm talking about. In 2002, on October the 16th, I was sitting in the chair, and I went to know self. That's the spiritual level where you go and you neutralize your spiritual self. So Bobby Hemmitt no longer exists, and I felt alone for a couple of minutes. But then I realized how stupid it was, because my soul was outside and my soul was identifying with its original self, and my physical body was just a series of illusions that never existed. So now if you can get to the point where you can devalue your physical self and every little thing that you hold dear in your life, including your family and everything, that understand that you are completely cosmic, you see what I'm saying? Then you can neutralize your ego enough that you don't have to be over here player hating on somebody because they bought a brand new fur coat. Right. It's just a series of events that never existed. We never existed. This is the ultimate reality that we got to say over and over, because at this particular time we're being judged by what is called the apocalypse of the heart. The apocalypse of the heart chakra and the heart. And all, and that's what we're dealing with at this particular time. So when you do this, we can get past what person comes and behaves a certain way. You see what I'm saying? So there was a method to the madness. As when I became more and more spiritual, I became more and more foul-mouthed. So what the devil is going on? And that's because of the training was being cast off. I was actually neutralizing it, but the Spirit was saying that you're going to need this to teach the people. Because most of the people that you think are spiritual are not spiritual. They've only convinced themselves that they're spiritual, but they are more religious. And that's a series of inspirational ceremony, and obviously it ain't working well for them, because it's your sons and daughters, especially your sons, that's locked up in prison. It's your community that's run by every other race but you, and giving you goods and services. But yet we got a church on every damn corner. You see what I'm saying? A church on every corner. And out of all the spirits that have showed up over the course of years, at first it was the generic names of the original ones that we know, and then the new names. I never heard of Jesus show up, because it's a composite figure that never existed. You see what I'm saying? I've heard from Osiris, I've heard from Horus, Heru, I've heard from all types of mystical characters in the past, never heard of Jesus. Then I realized, that is the one that the white man gonna keep giving you. Because he knows, long as you say that, you are actually alone and without spirituality. You say you Jesus like Martin Luther King, you can shoot him in the head now. But it's like that sister out in California when they had her chained up under the sink in the jailhouse, and they let her out, and they was coming to get her again, and she wrote them a letter, say, by my father Lucifer, I ain't gonna pay these taxes or whatever, and they left her ass alone. They said, we don't know what this nigga might know. But then again, they understand that Lucifer simply means the pineal gland. You see what I'm saying? Son of the morning, it means the pineal gland. If you get into the mythological aspect of it and not into the political aspect of it, of what they gave to the people. We'll go into some question and answers and stuff, but I'm saying we got to turn all this particular stuff around. Mostly everything when you see, even in the Book of the Dead or the Book of Coming Forth Thy Day, when you go to the different vignettes where the soul travels at the hours of the night, as you get deeper into the region of the highest level of spirits, monsters show up, demons show up. Well, wait a minute, hold on now, hold on. We are taught that all this is evil, but as you go on, if you get the vignettes and stuff, and more you get the hours of the night, then the monsters start showing up. Because that's the most spiritual shit. And that's why the white man keep you away from that. You see what I'm saying? And put out the movie, the cartoon Gargoyles, come on every night at 11 o'clock. Got more science in it than most things that you even read on the Disney Channel, Gargoyles, every night at 11 o'clock, 11:30. They drop all the science. And who are the monsters? You see, I just wanted to put these things out here. We're going to go right ahead. But I'm just trying to say here, we got to deprogram ourselves and we got to quit being scared. Now, I know you all are scared as hell for somebody to come up you unorthodox and stuff like that. But I'm trying to tell you this here. It was simple. 11 years ago, I decided to do a detailed study into the devil. And that's all you had to do, is to do a detailed study into the devil, and you find out in actuality that the evil that you think don't exist. And that the devil is one of the highest levels of spirituality. Doppelganger, your true self. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm saying this and all because I'm an authority on the damn subject. Anybody can challenge me on this shit. You see what I'm saying? But my point is also, I done went through every satanic ritual there was, and I was sitting there mad. Because all it was some of our high level of spirituality that fucked white folks up. And they, oh, that's satanic. No, it screwed white folks up. Because they can't take higher levels of energy. I done been through all the stuff and there's no such thing. You see what I'm saying? But you all scared now. And you ain't scared of a man that you go and lay up in the goddamn hospital with this cracker every damn month. And he a Nazi doctor. And you'll turn your everyday life over to him and think that in actuality he's actually healing you, especially the black woman. Black woman past 40 got a relationship with her damn doctor that's damn near erotic. And you don't think for once. Look, let me show you something here. Y'all all right? Yes. Y'all all right? Sometimes the spirit work things. Let me show you something right about it. I got to say things before I forget it. Let me show you something right here. I'm going to pour the libations right now, but I got to get this out because after I pour the libation, I might forget it. Because once the libation comes, then it's on then. You see what I'm saying? It's on then. You see. It's on. But I want to show you something right here. Y'all all right? Let me see. I got so much junk. And and when you neutralize things, you don't have to worry. Like the sister, like my queen, I came out the record store. She said, there's a guy over there tried to buy me a drink. I'm like, well, goddamn. Why'd you let a nigga buy you a drink? But see, I done neutralized the point that I supposed to. Who said I'm supposed to get upset? Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Who said I'm supposed to get upset? Yeah. It's when I'm upset if you looking that toe up that somebody don't want to buy you no drink. Now, I ain't stupid. This woman is an actual beauty queen. She used to dress down and wear big clothes and stuff because she didn't want niggas hitting on her. She's an actual beauty queen. Clothes on, clothes off. So when she came out, I said, well, hell, let that nigga buy you a drink. Or buy us one. But I'm thinking on a whole nother level and stuff. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to buy you a drink. And then she said, well, when my husband is next, he was like, I don't care, I'll buy you one anyway. I'm like, well, damn. He might have broke me off a drink. Just depends on your mentality and how you get upset by certain things or you program certain things. So I love it when they look at her. That's what you think a man go with a woman for in the first place. You see what I'm saying? To show her off, she's a damn arm piece. You see what I'm saying? So I be looking at you looking at, look, yeah, come on, look. You see, other people get offended. So it just depends on where you are at the time. But I want to show you this. I want to show you this. If I can find it, if I can find it. I got so much stuff. But I want to show you this. It's a picture to show you what we're dealing with these Nazi doctors. You know, go get the movie Empire Strikes Back. Excellent movie. Second installment of the original Star Wars. When the guy said, when Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke Skywalker, I want you to go meet Yoda, the Jedi Master. And Yoda was a little old runt living in a shithole eating stew. And he treated him with a heavy hand. And then he said, I can't teach him. He realized Yoda ended up being the Jedi Master. And that's the concept here that you're going to have to get past. That the same East Indian concept where the guy searched for God for 100 years and couldn't find him. He searched for him another 100 years, couldn't find him. And searched for another 100 years, couldn't find him. And he said, I don't think I'm going to be able to find God. But he only remembered on that road of searching for him, there was one prostitute on the side of the road. So when he started the journey this time, he went to the prostitute and said, can you tell me where God is? She said, I am God. She said, but you're a prostitute. Say, look, take it or leave it. That's what I am. But you can miss your enlightenment because you have a series of prejudgments and judgments, and you predisposed to something that is religious and ceremonial and is not spirit at all. It's going to come. That's why why you think the African and around the world, they got a trickster figure in all mythology. They got a trickster figure. Tahuti is a trickster figure in Egypt. You see what I'm saying? Because also, Tahuti is also Hermes, which is also Mercury. So also, he said, who you said was Mercury? Set. Tahuti is also Mercury because guess what? If you look at the origin of the pre-dynastic Set, part of his attributes went to Osiris, part of his attributes went to Anubis, and part of his attributes went to Tahuti. That's why you'll see Tahuti with a dog head in some mythology. You get the word Herminubus, which is Tahuti. You see, so it's a trickster figure. You see, so there's tricksters all over, and those are the gatekeepers. Those are the gatekeepers. Another thing, too, here's another thing about the gatekeeper. Now, I made a thing. Now, I have to preface this because I'm heterosexual. I went to Kansas to get a colonic because they had them real cheap down there. So I got about 4 or 5 of them. And the people look, and they would say, we got to go get somebody because they say, you got the smallest asshole we ever saw. We got to go real slow with you. So, I mean, it'll be a bad profession to me to make dookie love or being a gay because my body ain't built for it. So I'm letting you know right now I'm heterosexual. And if I tried to turn gay, I'm not built for it and stuff. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to preface that. But we're dealing with the heart chakra. We're dealing with the heart chakra. And that's when the Spirit came and said, look, you're going to do with this heart chakra, you cannot judge nobody because they gay. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You know, women never had a problem with that. They got all kind of good gay friends and what you know. And the only reason why you're doing it is because of ego, because somehow you think it's a threat to your maleness and it ain't got nothing to do with anything. And I'm heterosexual, but the Spirit said, no, I'm going to show you. So when I announced that stuff, and it's interesting, I was in Cleveland, and a brother showed up that was gay. And he had all his shirt on about the gatekeeper, which is all in Maladoma Somay's books, talk about the gay people are the gatekeepers. And he showed up and was the gatekeeper, and I said, and he was the most spiritual thing there. And it reminds me of when they stepped to Stokely Carmichael at the time, when he first did Black Power, and the gay white community stepped to him, and they said, we want you to help us with our thing because we got all this gay bashing. He was like, I can't do that. That ain't our culture. He said, what? They said, it's not our culture. They said, explain. He said, look, we knew in the civil rights movement that your boy from France, that lived in France, James Baldwin was gay. But something in black people's nature, we did not vilify this brother because we knew that this brother was paramount to our struggle. Now, that means that the legacy tells you that the legacy of the civil rights movement, the whole thing, not the Jewish influence, but the people that Martin Luther King and all those other people are, Ralph Abernathy, Martin Luther King and all them people, they had to be trained by a man, Bayard Rustin, who had gone down into Mississippi and Alabama in the 1940s when they was lynching people still. And he had to train them how to do a protest without getting killed. So this Lord was so bad of a warrior till they had to bring him on just to train Martin Luther King and them how not to get killed, because he had gone down up in there raising hell in the 40s when no other black people was doing it. And he is the architect behind the whole March on Washington, D.C. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, I said, well, now why would they put this type of person in our struggle? You see what I'm saying? In our struggle. It is to teach you in actuality we're dealing with the spirit realm. And we're not dealing with religions. To tell you that you're supposed to castigate a person. You see what I'm saying? Because of whatever. And I say that for one reason. Because I thought about it. What a nigga do in the dark is so personal. It's not as if, how is this challenging me? Oh, he can't get into heaven. Where is this damn heaven that everybody trying to get to that we ain't seen the damn access yet? And you know, and also, what does a physical act have to do with something spiritual? Let me give you an example. You afraid of going to hell, right? Because you're going to burn up in hell. Fire going to burn you for forever. You come from Africa now. And this niggas drawing heat in here tonight. And you're afraid of getting burned up by hell. Now let's break this down. In order for fire, they say our God is an all-consuming fire. So that means that God has got fire too. Well, all right then. If I got an all-consuming fire and the devil is supposed to have this fire to burn you up, then who is God? And what are they talking about here? The other thing here is, in order for fire to burn something, it has to be physical in order for fire to have the reaction to burn, by definition of the word. When you die, you don't have a fucking physical body. And guess what your soul is? Fire. Right there, it's fire. Energy. So, let me get this right. You got a fire soul that's going to be amongst fire, and everything down there burning and up there burning, but yet you're afraid of being burning, that you're already burning because your goddamn soul is fire. You see, if you look at the logical aspect, you don't have a physical body when you die, so how in the hell can you burn? So what is hell? Hell simply means when the soul takes on a physical body. Your physical body is hell. It is the defilement. And this existence is the worst existence to ever be. It's horrid, horrible. You see what I'm saying? It's called Hylex. Those who live in the physical world. You get it? So now, deprogramming this particular aspect. Now, where was I going? Let me get to the damn libation. Huh? You're looking for something that you misplaced. Okay, what I was looking for something I misplaced. If you look, I can't find the shit right now. Because I'm unorganized. And maybe the sister is trying to tell me something. You see? You need some organization in your life. You know what I'm saying? But I'm already dumbfounded. I can't find nothing in the house because she done cleaned up and got everything in order and in place, and had the damn audacity to pack my suitcase. You see? But I ain't hollering because I understand the Spirit saying, man, you wish for heaven. Now you getting it. Now you getting it. So don't complain now. You see, no, don't complain. Now, you know, I mean, pack my suitcase. And I'm not used to being catered on hand to foot. But then again, on the other hand, I go in the supermarket, and, you know, they got the buggy to push, and they got the little flap you push up. If you ain't got no children, you push the flap up. But when the flap is down, they got 2 holes in there. But if the flap was down, and a damn can of coconut milk fell out the basket and hit me on the damn big toe. So my toe hurting. So I look at her and say, you're supposed to push this flap up. So I kind of pushed the flap a little too hard. And this mug went off on me in the whole supermarket. You know, so. And the cashier was just shaking. She said, Mama, you don't do that. You know, you don't do that. And she went up on me in the whole supermarket and all. And I got to sit there and all, my toe hurting. And it's the same woman now that's to pack my bags. And she done got lied on me out in public twice. So you know that's some spirit shit going on here. Huh? Huh? No, I couldn't say nothing. I just sit there and all, and, you know, because, you know, it was already embarrassing, you know what I'm saying? And the cashiers was all scared. Okay, going to what I'm talking about here, and this is this. You put faith in something that I'm going to go into the library. So you scared of me because I'm talking about the devil. I done cursed at you. And then there's all this stuff, and this guy going to come up in here. And it was disrespectful for him in a level of learning to come up in here with that yang shit he was talking about energy and curse words and all that old stuff here. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad will be dead 30 years next year. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna come up with all this stuff, and I'm like, whole time here, you disrespecting the whole thing. This man done dropped on you about all the cosmos, and the only thing you can get, and you know what it is? It's because he's angry for acquiring additional knowledge, because he thinks what he has is already the gospel. And so when anybody come up and give you some additional knowledge, you see what I'm saying? Then your foundation is threatened. So the only thing you can do is to find something trivial to level what the damn brother was saying. I ain't no stupid fool. That brother in Ditmo wasn't talking about no curse words than nothing. You see what I'm saying? Because if he walked across that street and went past the wrong brother that said the wrong thing, he damn sure wouldn't come up and him say, you cursing like this and you this kind of thing, because he know what time it is. You see what I'm saying? But he can get in front of a room full of black people and feel unthreatened that he won't get his ass whipped. And the first thing I was saying was, no, brother, it ain't like that. Let's throw down, goddammit. You said, no, you wrong. No, he mentioned Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you already know, you get with them brothers, you say anything out of order, they kick your ass. So we'll find the same nigga for us up in here. See what I'm saying? And when you go amongst that white man, and you be in his thing, and he might have cursed, and he might have said what he want to say. If you was in one of his auditoriums, when he had one of his seminars, and you act up the wrong way, and he called that security guard in there, he bust you side the head with that goddamn billy bat, bust you in the head with that billy bat, you ain't gonna say a doggone word, but you got respect for them. See, it wasn't about no curse words. He was challenged based on the certain amount of information. He wanted everything to be Yahweh. You see what I'm saying? Which is a subordinate deity. Any male deity that's the all-supreme deity is the subordinate deity. Know this, because the male deity you've been worshiping as the supreme deity, and look at your ass. That's the subordinate deity. That's Zeus. That's a tyrant. You see what I'm saying? We'll get into that. You know, you just been handed something and you accepted it. You know, and the coming of the whole that clan was to suppress the divine feminine. And that time is over now. You see what I'm saying? And that's why you catching hell now, because you praying to something that ain't in balance. You see, there ain't nothing in the Hebrew faith that exalt, the one that everybody else get, the masses get, that exalts, that woman ain't nothing in there but obedient to her husband, bread making, and if she ain't that, she's a doggone hoe. But she don't share the spotlight with the so-called patriarch. Now I'm going to show you something here that was really messed up about this. Right now, if he go to a white, fake, isn't really Jew, he would laugh at it. He said, that nigga there is silly. Because that nigga don't know what time it is. Because ultimately, in the hierarchy in their priesthood, the goddesses share equal billing with the gods. Even their most devastating villain they got in Hebrew pantheon is Lilith. And at the end, based on Hebrew or Hebraic folklore, Lilith becomes exalted to the throne of heaven. They even tell you, even in the Hebraic thing, you don't curse Satan because one day Satan is going to be the angel of light. So that's what the rabbis in them learn. That the ultimate energy is the return of the Shekinah, which is what? A feminine energy. That's it. In Kemet, it's Mayat, or Sek Mayat. In India, it's Shakti. In Hebrew, it's Shekinah. You see what I'm saying? And also in India, it's also called Lakshmi Shakti. You see? So I'm just trying to say, this nigga was grandstanding in here trying to be spiritual. You see what I'm saying? And he was only being egotistical, and the only low energy up in here was his goddamn ass with that gang shit he talking. You see what I'm saying? Disrupting shit. In the masquerading as being spiritual. Because he didn't care about you in what you learned, because he threw a monkey wrench in what you was dealing with when this brother was dropping this stuff spiritual. Didn't even pay. See what I'm saying? See, we talk about the heart chakra. Nigga lost and hearted. Didn't even pay, and gonna come up in a place and Bogart in here, crashing the party, stealing, and then gonna get up in here and act like he doggone Father Divine. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You need to get you a chain and chain whip them niggas' asses. Moving right along. In this particular science, they got the post office. When you go to the post office, you will see that they got new stamps with a black woman holding a baby talking about sickle cell. Sickle cell research. That's the key. There's a sickle cell society in every city. And yet there was a brother that came up with a cure for sickle cell, and they denying it. The Africans, come to find out, the Africans, when they get over here, about 6 years or something, a couple of years within arriving in America, they start coming out with sickle cell. Never had it on the continent. And they found out that it had to be the diet. So as a result, some brother put together a serum using African fruits, yams and different other type of African fruits, and it cured the sickle cell. Immediately, the doctors in the hospitals denied the serum, said we don't want nothing to do with it. And the Sickle Cell Society's research denied it all over the country. But yet they're in every country, every city talking about sickle cell because they're tracking your DNA and your blood. That's what this thing is about. So here it is again. We turn over all the stuff that we think is evil, mythological characters that we was taught the boogeyman as a child, and we all scared of that, and yet we can go lay up on the table and let somebody take your blood. Don't give no blood. You see what I'm saying? Don't give no blood. You know. Now, how many people, well, y'all are, ain't nobody gonna call on y'all. We could pretty much safe up in here today. I'm looking at the age group. But they had this whole thing with vote or die. Vote or die. And had all the rappers, and they signed up more black people to vote than ever before. in the world, in the history, more young people. And the day that they did that, when Bush won, Canada started closing their borders. Why? Because Canada understood based on the end, because Bush and them told them, hey, we got them now, so close your borders. Because based on vote or die, everybody who signed up for vote or die signed up for the draft. And it was a trick. They went to the rappers, they went to all them sellout niggas, and they told everybody, Puff Daddy and the other guy, and they signed up all these black people, because what had happened was between the ages of 18 to 45, they could not track black males. You living with your mama. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't track black males. They can track sisters, because the way the system is set up, you know what I'm saying? They even make things certain beneficial for you so that they can track you. You do certain things in a certain system to be accounted. And that's just the female system in this country. But they couldn't track certain black males, so they had to go in. They even signed up felons. They said, if you're a felon, you can vote. And got the felons and signed them up. Now, they got the biggest pool, and they signed up more people to vote ever, and all of a sudden, the vote or die was vote and die. He signed up for the draft. Now, Dick Cheney came out in October and said, read my lips. No, in September said, there will be, the Bush administration will not enact the draft. He's right. They won't enact the draft because guess what? Frances Cress Welsing, a month ago, in November, right after the election, showed the executive orders that they enacted the draft in 2003. They had already enacted the draft. Congress did that before they even went to damn war. And she had the executive orders. It was already passed and everything. The draft was already in. They just needed the people that they couldn't track. And they used this vote or die to do things. So my point here is we go about shit ignorant every day and think nothing about it. And when people come before you with some other stuff and coming unorthodox, you scared you going to hell. You see what I'm saying? You scared you going to hell. You know. And nobody say nothing about anything. So these crackers are on a whole nother level. You see what I'm saying? And now, your children get ready to go get slaughtered in the war. See what I'm saying? Now, meanwhile, since 2003, if they said that they got the National Guards going, and they're already over there, all the army's depleted, then where are the people manning the bases? Who's the man in the army bases? The army bases are being manned in this country by the Russians. And one of the brothers out there, went out to Las Vegas a couple of months ago, saw these Russians speaking Russian, and one of them, he said, can you speak English? He said, yes. He said, what you are here for? He said, we are here for the insurgents. Now look up the word insurgents. I mean uprising. And all this. So that means that this cracker, remember now, Bill Cooper, before he died, he said, if they're going to have martial law, they can't impose, a soldier would be reluctant to impose martial law on his own mama, on his own sister. So you have to get somebody foreign that don't have an allegiance on our lines to you. You see what I'm saying? Mercenaries. So this is who is the UN and UN soldier that's imposing the martial law, and they all over. And those are the ones that's occupying the army bases. See what I'm saying? Those are the ones that's occupying the army bases. So the key here is they're already here for the insurgents. Now I'm telling you tonight, we have gone, but there's some beauty in this. I'm going ahead of myself, but guess what? Now, Farrakhan said something back in 1985 in the Power Tour at Madison Square Garden, and he was right. He said, do you want your slave to go to war against you in the street? Told a white man that. He said, because if the slave go to war with you, we will win. And I said, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I could think 20 years ago when I heard that. But in my illumination, I realized that he was telling the truth. Do you know we would win that war? If we went to war with him, we would win that war. So I'm trying to tell you this, and we're going to go, let me pour libations, and we're going to go into the science on this. But when this cracker jumped this time, he fucked. I know it because it happened to me. Let's see, they blew up the World Trade Center on that Tuesday. That Friday, no, that Saturday, they rolled on me, and I was standing right on the front porch, and they couldn't even see me.
Go ahead.
They couldn't even see me, so I know. And right now, you are becoming unbreakable, which means that there's certain things that's going on with you right now that right now, if you get wounded, you won't even doggone, it'll heal up overnight. This brother right here can bear witness to that. This brother right here, one of your native Philadelphians, Brother Bosisi, got run the fuck over by a car, climbed up from up under the exhaust pipe. This nigga's in his 60s. Now how's a man in his 60s get ran over by a damn car, climb up from under the exhaust pipe, walk, 5 blocks to his sister's house? He was drunk as shit. Came back and standing around the damn wreck, and they looking for the damn wreck, and motherfucker saying this got to be the guy that got in the wreck because he got tire tracks all over his white clothes. And I said, Boss, did you get hurt? He said, well, I had a scratch on my face, but it healed up the next day. See what I'm saying? You see, so we talk about that kind of spirit stuff we dealing with right now. This cracker can't win this goddamn war. But see, you are thinking that it'd be done because you're looking at his measurement of war, and that shit, and believe me, he fucked when he jumped this time. Now, I'm going to go into this in a few minutes. Y'all all right? Y'all all right? Okay, now. I know what I'm talking about. I'm lonely. I wish a cracker want to fuck with me. You be messing with everybody. But I'm lonely because I want to put some of this stuff to use. But it's working, I'm telling you. Now let me go into let me pour some libations right quick. Y'all all right? Okay. Give me some good ashes. Want to give them some. And some people say, why you still do? Well, see, you do this also too, because this is a form of healing. When you permeate these things in this room, people become healed. You see what I'm saying? People come healed. Some people get opened up psychically. Some people see devils and snakes and shit around me. You're like, oh, that nigga there. I'm just screwing with you because, I know y'all all scared. Now, people have said, so I see some demons up in, some people say, I seen it in the video. There'd be demons around that nigga. Be demons around that nigga. I said, yeah, it's all right. Okay, now. So let me call out some of the new ones, and then we'll deal with what you call it and all. They didn't beat the drums, and you're gonna have to tap into your Native American spirits also. Tap into your Native American spirits. That's very key at this particular time. A Native indigenous one. So we're just gonna call out these new ones, and just a few. We're gonna give a shout out to Lakshmi, since she hooking a nigga up financially. And stuff. She said it. My girl said, December, she coming. Shoot, the mailbox been something in the mailbox every day up until Christmas. And then Christmas, some niggas came and broke me off some stuff physically. So it's working. It's working. Of course, we spin it like a mug. A poor man ain't got no business trying to save. He already poor. Shoot. All right, now. Let's deal with this. Y'all all right? So we're going to give a shout out to Lakshmi. It's interesting here because we've been talking about the elixir, and there's a football player in Charlotte been mixing that elixir up. And them pro football players, after they get out of the NBA, they are no good. They're constantly in pain. Some of them can't make love. They can't do nothing. And he started using this elixir and started healing himself. But you got to call on the spirits with it. We'll get all of it. So we're dealing with also science too. So we're going to give you this particular ritual. You can do this ritual. And y'all need a microphone on back there? You can do this ritual. And we're going to get this ritual out tonight. Spiritual bath. Do it. Go to a meeting. Go in there and you can get your job you want. You can get the business transaction you get. You can get your niggas out of jail and all that just by some stuff, you know. So we're going to do this and all, but we're going to call out these right now. And then I'll go into the science on what this stuff is all about in a few minutes. We're going to call out these new spirits. New spirits and all. She comes accompanied with 2 elephants beside her on the, these with 2 elephants. And then we even get, Ganesha is the elephant, is the elephant that is in the house. You see that elephant deity in and I should have put one on him, but he's the elephant. You buy one, you go to Marshall's, and go. They got a little room, they got a little section in Marshall. They sell all the African stuff. I'm gonna bust the shit out. God damn it, niggas been charging y'all all that high ass money for that African statues. And you paying all that high-ass money, you can go right there to goddamn Marshall's and get that shit for nothing. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm tired of niggas getting over on me. You know, charging you $300 for some shit that was made in Holland. Look, they got an African from Nigeria that go and get the real shit on the continent. It don't even look like half that shit y'all be wearing. That be the slum clothes. You get the real shit with them embroidery, with that gold and all that stuff in it. They got a store in Atlanta called Mutana's, and they sell the real African apparel. Shit, man. You look like some stuff coming out of the ancient world. But all that stuff you get sold up in Holland and stuff, which ain't nothing but $1.75, and you paying $400 for it. Go to Marshall, they got all your African shit up in there. So I done told on somebody. Last 15 years, we done paid enough for all that high-ass African shit. Go to Marshall's, they got the shit. In Marshall's. They got Ganesha statue. You want to get a Ganesha statue, because that's the elephant deity. And that elephant deity, Ganesha, is the one that protects your home. Protects your home. But there's 2 other elephants that come with Lakshmi. We got their name, Treyanka and Putiyanka. Treyanka and Putiyanka. And they're lustful and prosperity because we brought these 2 white elephants, and man, we like to kill ourselves screwing. We like to shoot. Something gotta give. It's on. But I want to show you a picture of the 2 white elephants. Put it on the videotape. You know, Treyanka and Putiyanka. I like that name. Treyanka and Putiyanka.